all this stuff, um, it puts an extra burden almost on providers because they have to be up on things, they have to know things, but also can create some problems. Hey, doctor, I saw this on the television show, or I saw this, this commercial for, whatever, and I want to try that. It can be very, very problematic. So we're still dealing with growing pains, when it comes to all this stuff. Okay, break it down. Stop. Hammer time. He's too legitimate to stop. Get it? Too legit to quit. I'll let you read about the theories and the models. And one of the things that most of you have already done are to consider the advantages and disadvantages of all this type of stuff. My allergies are really killing me. Because that is the seventh forum. And remember, at the end of the day, providers want money, and so sometimes it costs more money to email the doctors, and providers also don't want to get sued. So that's one of the reasons why if you go to the WebMD, they have to throw out everything that it could possibly be. Okay. There has been some research, and this isn't exactly in your book, but I think it's useful. I'm all about the practical these days. And we're dealing just with email here, if you're a provider and you want to use email in a particular way, I mean, there are some rules and guidelines. Sometimes you have a contract with your patient saying what you will disclose via email and what you will not. This is both for a patient and provider. Don't email your doctor if you accidentally saw off your foot. If you're doing some work in the shed or wherever you are, in your wood shop, and it's like, there goes a leg. You probably know, hey doctor, that's a 911 emergency. Best practices say that caregivers should not be giving bad news via email. Dear so-and-so, you only had 2 days to live. Oh, that would suck. And all emails do have legal precedence, so you can't take them back. Sometimes, particularly, we think it's, I can just do whatever. Billing issues should be taken care of in a fancy written or actual paper before email. So best practices is to have some sort of written thing for billing. If you have that first, then you can email. And then there's some assumptions about all of the above that folks know how to use email. A lot of people have access to it. We have that digital divide. That's a very important thing to consider. I'll let you read the multiple modes of media and all that jazz. There's a lot of information here that, again, I know you can read, so I put some links here about like electronic medical records or EMRs. And if you don't know what they are, you can read and look all this stuff up. But this just sort of tells, what's the difference between electronic medical records and electronic health records, the advantages and disadvantages of all these things, mostly advantages. So if you want to take a look at that, I'm pretty sure I have one. My daughter uses a little computer or iPad, whatever, with everything these days. Oh, crap. And then I've got some stuff about PHRSs. So that also stands for, by the way, you didn't know, not only does a PHRS stand for Professional and Human Resources, well, it's also Personal Horse Registry. Okay, whatever. So what is this in this context of e-health? Personal health record, PHRs. So, yeah. So it's a tool for you to have all this stuff at your disposal. And so there's more information about your own personal health record that you could use. And then, what else do I have here? Just so you can take a look at. Oh, EMR versus EHR. I think I already did that, didn't I? Well, yeah, pretty much. So an EMRs, electronic medical records, are this, but electronic health records do a little bit more. So I'll let you read that if you so desire. And then all this stuff about telemedicine, more telepathy stuff, because I just did. Telemedicine, taking drugs over the phone. It's like, I need to take my medicine. I got it, yeah. It's shot. But, you know, there's teleconsultation where you can talk to caregivers on the phone, teleradiological stuff where you can give information. I don't know a whole lot about that. It's not like, I don't think you can get an X-ray. Well, maybe you can get an X-ray over the phone. I don't know. Telepathology, again, I'll let you read. Big implications for communication and health communication and all this stuff. So the big point of all this stuff is that technology is big. It has completely changed, not completely, but it's changed the landscape of the healthcare setting. And folks need to be educated on how to use this stuff. That's why media literacy that we've talked about in previous chapters is always still very important. People need to understand health information technology and how to use it in a savvy way. It is the way for the future, and it saves money. It also costs money. So folks need to know what's out there. Folks need to know that they have the opportunity to have a personal health record, all that type of stuff. But we also need to consider that we still have the digital divide. So telemedicine is good, but you know, it's one of these things that the folks who are affluent or wealthy or live in certain places have access to a lot more information than folks who live in poorer areas and they don't have, you know, like you could still roam around South Carolina and at times there, you know, my cell phone doesn't have, you know, whatever. It's amazing. God. So we need to think about equity and ethics when it comes to all of this stuff. Everybody should have, in my mind, an opportunity to use this stuff, even as there are advantages and disadvantages. I think my favorite thing of all this stuff is the skill builder on page 224. Using the internet effectively. Of course, I'll let you read more about telehealth and all that stuff, and you know, telemonitoring, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. But this is the good stuff in my mind. Do not trust information if there's no author. This is just looking at the internet, right? Do not trust the information if there's no author or sponsor or if the source given is not well known. So, Bob at Bob's blog. Who's Bob? Look for another source if the sponsors are trying to sell a product rather than offer free information. Plenty of websites make reliable health information available free. Right. All that crap on Pinterest, they're trying to sell you stuff. If they're trying to sell you something, a product, yeah, be wary of that. Do not rely on information if it is dated. References are missing. The references do not seem legitimate. Like here's information about heart disease from 1975. Have you seen the Funny or Die egg thing or whatever? Like, oh, you shouldn't eat eggs. They're bad for you because they have a lot of cholesterol. Then, oh, well, no, they're not because there's good and bad cholesterol. So you eat the whites but not the yolk. And then, oh, well, we learn more about how the body makes cholesterol, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Keep in mind that legitimate health practitioners do not speak in terms of secret formulas or miraculous cures. Only con artists use such language. Other red flag claims include such words as treats all forms of cancer, cancer disappears, non-toxic. Get more stuff on Pinterest if you want. Drink this every day. It kills cancer. Whatever. So if ever you see something about secret formulas or miraculous cures, that is a bunch of crap. Do not be convinced by case studies of actual satisfied customers. An isolated case does not prove a product's effectiveness, and this may not be an actual customer. He's a generalization. Bob in his blog said this, though. Whatever. Do your own research, read medical journals and articles, ask health professionals. Yes, I want to read some medical articles. Read the fine print, look for disclaimers and vague wording. Report suspicious claims to the Federal Trade Commission, Better Business Bureau, or State Attorney's General Office. You'll find some crap on there, which is there's all over the place. Okay, I've gone on long enough. I'll have more stuff later. I think, if anything, I think the big picture of all this is, well, the reasons why I had you again do that. The seventh form is to consider the advantages and disadvantages of technology in health. Lots of ways it's been very, very helpful with patient empowerment and media health literacy and media literacy. But in lots of ways, it's made things a little bit more difficult. So, technology is a tool just like anything else. We want to use it wisely. But also at the same time, it has ultimately changed how we see the world, how we communicate with one another, our sense of relationships, our sense of friendships, our sense of, again, the patient-provider relationship, issues of formality and informality. It's really, really huge area. Okay, good enough. Take care. You can go online and check your symptoms.